1, 2, testes, 1, 2, testes. Hi, I'm Danny Butler. We're back at Hawk's Nest, at the top of Hawk's Nest. And today, we're back on test with... You thought I was going to say this then, didn't you? Nah. This is trial tube. Now this week on Trial Tube, we have got something very special on the channel. Once again, the nice people at Camio Moto have hooked us up, if he ever turns up, with a bit of blue fit dads. Quite like it, I think it's fit. That's right, bit of blue for the dads. So, it's been asked for on the channel, and the nice people at Camio Moto have hooked us up. He's here now, it's Rich. Took him a while, but he got here. Now, next to me is the new Sherco 300 factory. Now, it's called a factory because it's full of factory bling. But let's go back in time. Now, talking about getting back in time, Sherco, I always feel like people forget Sherco, like they're a new brand, but they're not. They've been on the scene for a huge amount of time now. I personally, along with the guy that's off camera looking at me, both owned a Bull Taco when they first came out. Sherco was the original sort of revival of that famous brand Bull Taco with their Bull Taco Sherco bike, ridden by, I think the factory rider at the time was David Cobos, who honestly was mega. So they released some bikes. They released one in grey. There was a celebration version of this bike about 2 years ago in grey and red to celebrate that bike. And then the year after, the Bull Taco Sherco came out in blue, almost this blue, and silver, with Graham Jarvis as part of the factory team alongside Cobos. And they had a British team, which Rich Timpley rode in when he was smaller. That's what we're going to go with.
No.
Now, Since then, the bike has had many iterations and had some great success with riders like Albert Cabestany. Basically, I feel like if Tony rode a Honda and Adam rode a Gas back in the day, then Albert basically stayed on Sherco all the way until the end. But he's still on TikTok and he's famous now. Now, fast forward, obviously, an enormous amount of time, and we have this. Wait there. Does that say SHT on the top of there? This. The new Sherco 300 factory, which, with the help and, well, development from Girone Fajardo, we have this bike, which I've been told is a real leap forward from previous bikes. But I always like to try and be neutral on the channel, and if we are going to review a bike, well, just forget about the old ones, let's talk about the new one. And honestly, I literally have no experience riding a Sherco since I had one many years ago.
Oh my God, I love your skirt. Where did you get it?
Now I feel like they've really gone to town with this bike. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the factory model, so you get a nice cheeky little CNC head there, which is tasty. And I thought they would have put a tie front pipe on, but let's be honest, they've got to leave room for later in the year when the limited edition run of Fajardo bike comes out, which I really liked last year's, especially because it had little drilled holes in the front wheel as well. I thought that was, for me, being a push bike rider, essentially, was right up my street. That was nice work, Sherco. And I feel like they've thought about things. Now, I normally change to S3 pegs for the hard rock peg. Obviously, this bike's got them on already. Winner. As well as with these sort of tubular frames, I always feel like people don't put enough guards on them, but they've got this like really hard sticker on there, which isn't like a normal sticker, which would rub off in about 20 seconds. Gas. It's actually quite a lot harder, very plasticky feeling. So I feel that's going to do quite well. Good work, Sherco. Oh, and there's a Riger in there somewhere. Being the factory model, they've not scrimped. Nice little CNC adjusters in there. FIM Galfa back disc. Nice. Also, there seems to be a proper rubber flap, which seems to be pretty well attached. You know, all the other bikes seem to come with, if they have got this little flap on, obviously the Vertigo doesn't come with that because we're not talking about Vertigo. But this one is actually pretty good. You know, a few of the other bikes, again, not mentioning any names, have this flap on and it lasts all of about 5 seconds. So this looks pretty substantial. And I know that the airbox on the Sherco it's solid. It's really well sealed up. Weirdest shot in the world award goes to the shot of the back mudguard, which I'm showing you because I know on a Sherco, the back mudguard is really bendy. Good job. Now I'm very lucky with these tests because obviously this is a brand new bike. We get to try it out, give an honest review, whether you listen or not, completely up to you. But I do try and make sure that they're all fair. So when the bike gets here, we set it up for me. You know, move stuff, make it feel comfortable, because there's no point in me getting on a bike and just going, oh yeah, it feels all right, yeah. I just need some clothes. All set up, tyre pressure sorted, which I don't expect will get warmer or the tyres will get hotter or any of that malarkey like I've heard elsewhere. No. Because we're in the Peak District and it's already cold. It's supposed to be summer and I'm cold.
Okay, let's party.
Let's go get out. Sounds nice. First impressions. I think the bike's really good quality in all fairness. It feels throaty on the bottom end, as you can tell by my panting. It's a lot to hold on to, the 300 Sherco. She really has got quite a lot of poke. And on first observations, I already noticed that the head angle on the Sherco is quite, for lack of a better word, quite slack as they bring the front wheel outwards to counteract, obviously, hitting the obstacles head on. Which means that it goes over things really well, but there's a trade-off. I do feel like the bike turns in all of a sudden. Also, by pitching the forks back slightly, you bring your, I guess, centre of gravity further forward on the bike, where the pegs don't feel as far back. For a really tall rider like myself, it's a bit weird to get used to, not having so much space in the bike. But she's grunty and grippy, but we'll see how far that goes. Oh, and the clutch is beautiful. Sounds good too. Tight.
It's so fetch.
What is fetch?
Oh, it's like slang from England.
So let's talk brass tacks. Now, the factory 300 Sherco is the top of the range right now, and it does ride like a top of the range bike. So we're going to do a section that I've done here at Hawk's Nest since I was about 12 years old. Well, at least I know the section. It's just the bike I don't know. Now, as the weeks go by here on Trial Tube, we're going to start to do some top tips. In fact, we're going to do Trials Day top tips. So, top tip number 1. If you're going to get to a trial, walk the section. I know there's no markers and no tape in this one, but if you're going to go out training, you may as well set yourself a section. Don't do what I call pointless enduro, which is basically you riding around with your mates playing kiss chase.
No.
Whatever. Walk the section. So our section starts here, right here. We're going to go through the middle of this groove, up the centre line. We're going to touch this little rock here, make our way onto that slab. And then we continue. We go up and onto this rock here, where we're going to turn right around, following round the corner. Nice big 80s style Tarez body shape. All the way round, back across this ledge, and out of shot probably. Right out of shot. Now, that's the first part of the section. Next part, you come across this ledge, onto this rock, and it's a very steep roll down here, which it's hard to show the size of things on camera, but if you zoom right in, you'll be able to see that it's massive. And then it's a drop down into here, line the bike up, and we've got to fire up quite a large set of rocks that sort of go into a V shape. So what you need to do is you need to line her up, and if there's a nice V shape like this, get yourself right in there.
No.
It's done it again.
Didn't Mummy ever tell you it was rude to eavesdrop, Potter? By
the way, if you are walking a section, try and take a look at our We Walk a Natural Section video, which was from last season, and you'll see it's always important to use the Alpine Star to your advantage. As you come into the section, these are no longer Alpine Star, they are JCB. Really important, okay? The reason why I call them JCBs is every time that you walk the section, if you see something you don't like, move it out the way! Now, like I do with all bikes, we're going to do 3 different gears. And I don't mean shorts and a t-shirt. I mean first gear, second gear, third gear. So we're going to see how she pulls in a few sticky situations. So, first up, first gear. So this is first gear. So one gap jump, second gap jump, undercut and up a hill. So that was first, now second. Now I am going to try and talk like I normally do about the bike and the feel and the suspension, but the sections here at Hawk's Nest are, well, it's not as easy to chat. But this time I'm going to chat. Second! People are on the settees now thinking, oh, shut up and ride the bike. As an observation, the gearbox in this bike is absolutely stunning. I'm not having to put a lot of pressure on that gear stick, but then again, I feel too many young riders spend their time changing gear by doing this, which is just horrendous to watch. It's a little click. There we go. Second. So second gear, nice and steep, leaning right back with a little pick at the end, which the Sherco feels great on that roll down. It really does, because of that sort of slacker head angle. I feel like rolling off things is easy. Also, it's super planted when balancing. I'm not trying, I'm just sort of studying. Right, it's a big drive up this one now. What you can't see on camera, but I'll get another shot in a minute, is this is undercut. So you have to tap the side of it and feel the front wheel drift across the rock. Clear her out a little bit. Not fuel injected, but not wrong with the carb when it's working well. Woo! Plenty of grip on the old girl. So second should help me across the gap, he says. And it did just that. And I expect it's going to work for this gap well as well. Sounding great still. So, can't believe I'm doing this. As promised, technical section at Hawk's Nest in third. I feel like this is borderline pointless, but we'll see. She's gonna have some torque, the girl, but then again, the lad riding it, he's got some torque as well. There we go. This gearbox is lovely, really nice. Nice one. Now what I notice is she's really grunty, but it's like at the very top of the rev range, and then you have to kind of roll her off a little bit. Like all two strokes. Now obviously, what I'm doing right now doesn't really warrant third gear, but it's always nice to know on the big bikes that she'll still pull and you can still make your riding look nice and stylish. I feel like all you're getting right now is a great shot of my arse.
No.
Oh, this bit's gonna feel disgusting. Here we go. Big chuck out with the body. Oh! Hopping around, still in third. But not too bad, really doing quite well. Yep. Look at that gearbox. Come on, Sherco. Now, I have rode older Shercos, and honestly, This one's a cut above. If you like a Sherco, don't mess around. I'm just stalling because I don't want to do the next bit. I know the bike's new, but that gearbox is lovely. Obviously third there. Not as easy to turn in, but still doing it. So well balanced, this bike, really planted. And now that the forks and shocker are nice and warm, she's springy as leather, nice and smooth on that rider. It really is a factory bike, or factory feel anyway. Oh! That's third for you. You know what? I quite like this Sherco. Right, I'm back on terra firma. I've enjoyed riding this bike, but we know what it's time for. 3 good and 3 bad things about your 300 Sherco factory. Starting with the good bits. Gotta love that bendy mudguard. I feel like more manufacturers should do that. It's gonna take some doing to break that mudguard. Good bit number 1. Bendy, bendy. Bendy, bendy. I like it. Good point number 2. Oh, the midgies, they're after me. This is pain for art, this is. Pain for art. You better appreciate this. I'm being attacked here. Good point number 2. Well, it's a factory bike, so it comes riddled in nice parts, and honestly, it's put together really well, and the engine feels really tight, and this is more than 2 good points, isn't it? Good point number 2. The gearbox feels beautiful. And the clutch is also, well, it feels great. Really good. Nothing to moan about. No drag. It comes out smoothly. It's there when you want it. There's nothing more to say apart from the clutch and gearbox are good. She's tight. And last but not least, just look at that. I mean, the styling of the Sherco. I feel like this year's factory bike is to the backdrop of the Peak District. That is a good looking bike.
Look at that. Would you look at that? Filthy. Absolutely filthy.
Bad part number 1. Where the CDI's held on, as I was jumping around, it was slowly but surely shaking out of this little rubber holder or whatever it is. Well, it's shocking. So they're gonna have to sort that out at some point. Look how baggy it is, honestly. Get a finger in there. Now for me personally, bad point number 2 is all of this area where I feel like whoever put it in just was having a very anti-OCD day, and it's just like a mess of wires. So I know that this is, obviously I mentioned that in the last point, but I feel like this just needs a tidy up, and I don't know, house it somewhere in here or something, but it's a bit of a mess down there. The next bad point, or the third and last bad point, is the ridge at the side of the airbox. If you don't know what I mean this ridge, which you can see my boot has been rubbing there, a bit like a gas. This seems to be, well, it's really been sticking in me. It's really done a number on my boot and shin just there. So yeah, watch out for that. She's quite wide at the back, the girl. Thank you for watching Trial Tube as always. I'm going to have a big shout out to the guys at Camio Moto for lending us this wonderful blue machine, which honestly, I fell in love with a little bit. I think it's a good bike. Still, like every bike, it's got its ups and downs, but I never used to be a Sherco lover. But now, what can I say? Maybe I'm partial to a bit of blue. I can't help myself, can I? As always, remember to like, share and subscribe. And I'm going to try my best to start this up first go. It's gone quite well for me today, since the first cold start where I completely cocked it up. Cold start. Since then I've been quite good. Here we go. Oh, come on, you beauty. That's what I'm talking about, Willis.
Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like.